Hello everyone and welcome back to Elite Season 7 featuring Splatterhouse WANPAKU Graffiti. I am Hans Buttface. On this episode, we will continue with week number 3 action as we draw closer to the playoffs. Up first, we're going to start with the quad box featuring a makeup race featuring BTs and Europsilis. This is BT's first race, and this will be Europsilis' last race in the group. Sharing screen space with them will be relegation race participants Dark Magician 1-1, 8-4, and Link 7s. Both of these players are 0-2, so this is just a practice race for them before they head into their relegation race to try to stay in the upper deck. Let's take you to these matchups right now.
Hello everyone, I am Bent Glass Tube, and I am joined by Angry Larry for some commentary on the Jason group.
Yeah, I got here early because I'm doing the next race and I wanted the comfy seat.
Yeah, I noticed that you took the comfy seat. I'm a little disappointed. I thought I was the headline commentator for this one, but I guess not.
Well, you got to get here early to get the good chair.
That's fair.
Speaking of early, it's not Link 7s right there, starting way late in the race.
Yeah, the 2.5 seconds you saved by the early reset, I think he spent going back to the controller.
And I had to try to find out what happened there, if that was an editing snafu or if Link 7s was a little slow on the draw there. I've had problems too when you're trying to start at split the timer and resetting and hitting start at the same time. And Link 7s doesn't play on emulator, but if you don't have the right windows in focus as well, that can screw you up.
Yeah, the reset thing it's kind of annoying, honestly. Like, I know early on in this tournament, I believe it was Angry Jammy who discovered that trick, and we had the discussion about it and decided it was fine to use. But I kind of wish we had just changed the timing to start of control instead. But that really doesn't matter for racing as much as leaderboards, so I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just making stuff up.
Yeah,
welcome to the show.
Well, I'm an admin for that board, so we can make up anything we want, but I don't remember changing timing being one of the options. It was either do or don't use it. And the argument for using it was...
timing.
What's that?
Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say the argument for it was you want to go as fast as possible and get the fastest starting time. And certainly at the first input, you can go faster if you hit reset. And the argument against it, which I was heavily in favor of not using it to start, was that we got different people, different setups, different, one person had it. The guy who discovered it has to change his graphics card to use it because the graphics card won't come back afterwards. Other people are detached from their consoles. They got to put their face right in the camera.
Yeah, I don't know anyone like that.
Yeah, and other people have emulators that for some reason don't have a soft reset shortcut key, and other people can just hit like one key on the keyboard and they're instantly reset just like that. So there's a lot of variance for racing when using that, but as far as a speed run goes, it does save you the time, and on the first input, you want to go as fast as possible thereafter.
Yeah, I think it was Yunus who mentioned the changing the timing as an alternative that lets you go fast without the annoyance for people whose camera and NES are awkwardly placed, for example.
I mean, I definitely like speedruns that start on the first input. Or, I'm sorry, not the first input, but the gain control to the loss of control of character. Yeah.
The first meaningful input.
So this is BT's first race here. This is his in-group Killer Tomato. His makeup race against Europsilis. Or Europsilis.
Yeah. He's got a nice little rhythm dodging these chairs. Unfortunately, not the fastest way to fight this boss, but it's fun to watch.
It's one of the downsides with starting your tournament in week number 3 is that, you know, we've had 3 weeks of experimentation for everybody else. He's had just as much time to practice as everyone else, but, you know, prior commitments kept him from doing his races in the early weeks. But
Yeah.
to have 3
That
weeks...
BT guy. He's a busy dude.
Yeah, to have 3 weeks of practice on that boss, by week 3, you know exactly how you have to hit it and pin it against the side. And then you also know that you have to kill the knives here, not the chickens.
Yeah, he seems to be killing everything in sight, so I think that at least will work out for him.
That is the first Panic Dolphin strat we've had in the Elite Tournament history, I believe. I don't think we had it in the Olympics either.
You know, you don't see Panic Dolphin in Randomizer too much, and that's what we played in the Olympics.
So he has fun. Go ahead.
It's fun to see a Panic Dolphin strat. It's an underrated strat for any boss in any game, really.
So he has the full control of the group under his hand right now. Europsilis is 2-0. BT's beating Europsilis not only gives BT a chance to win out and win the group, but he'll also win out if he wins 2 total races because he'll have the tiebreaker on Europsilis in the head-to-head. A loss here doesn't really matter because of how the group is right now, and he's got 2 more races after this.
Yeah, it's a exciting week for BTs then. So he's gonna play Europsilis and Dark Magician and Link Sevens all this week.
No, this is a split group. Dark Magician and Link Sevens are in the upper deck.
Right, I knew that. I knew that because of reasons.
Yeah, Dark Magician and Link Sevens are in Group Jason in the upper deck. BTs and Europsilis are in Killer Tomato, singular, in the Cesspool.
Yes. Did you ever see the movie Attack of the Killer Tomato? Like, actually watch that movie?
That movie is somewhat of an urban legend in my family because of, you know how family stories get passed down year after year after year, holiday after holiday after holiday. Sure. Playing Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and having people over from the neighborhood, like the neighborhood families or the parents of the neighborhood families. Legend has it that we played that movie at a get-together and people were walking out and leaving during the movie.
Wow, leaving a house party, like, you know, leaving the theater is one thing, but leaving your friend's house, that's a bad film. Yeah, that is definitely a bad film and a bad time here for BTs as he's exploring every single shelf and platform in this area. Yeah, it's interesting because he has the shotgun and he appears to be saving the shots as though he knows he needs them soon. So I think, you know, it's not that he's playing blind, but just without much practice. Did he despawn that spider, or did he shoot it from way downtown? I think he lost a bullet, so I'm guessing he shot it, but I didn't see it actually die, so I was a little confused by that as well. But on the topic of legendary films in your family, my when I for my 10th birthday I was allowed to have like a sleepover party, and so like all of my neighborhood friends came and we had like a scary movie festival in the basement of my house. And growing up, my mom like was terrified of this movie that I can't even remember the name now. It's like Night of the Grizzly or something. And so she made us watch that, and like it was just so cheesy and not scary at all, but just different times, I guess. You know, it was very scary for her as a kid and not for me. But that's my movie legend. BT's died there. He's going to go right back into the spider room. Europsilis has the overall lead here, and a healthy lead on BT's right now. But in the top, I have to mention that Dark Magician and Link Sevens are both 0-2. They're going to be heading to the relegation race for the upper deck. Link Sevens was in the winner's bracket for the first 5 seasons of the Elite history. Last season, he finished 3rd, which didn't go into a winner's bracket or a loser's bracket. We had 5 people. Middle kind of just stayed stagnant. He's at risk of being relegated for the first time ever. Yeah, I know. It's how the mighty have fallen. I don't know. It's really weird to have anyone go from, being in the winners bracket to being relegated in one season.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Magician rose from the cesspool when we had only 2 leagues last year to the upper deck and just couldn't hang this year. And he's going to be going to the relegation race.
Yeah, so this race between them is just kind of for fun, huh? Just either way, they're both going to the relegation.
I can't imagine when you're 0-2 and you've seen this as, season to season to season. The players that aren't really doing well stop practicing at some point in time. And I think both 0-2, they're really not putting a lot of time in right now. So this race, this forced race that we're making them do, where we're going to, I don't know, go to the house and tape their, saran wrap their toilet. This is their only practice probably going into that relegation race. So they need this for themselves.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like when you get to be 0-2, that's when you start thinking like damage control, What am I going to do? Am I going to just let this one slide and, fall down into the bowl? Is that the middle tier now?
Yeah, the bowl.
Yeah, or am I gonna, keep practicing this game that, maybe I'm not finding very enjoyable because I'm 0-2, or am I gonna, what do I want to do? What do I want to get out of the Elite Tournament? And I guess we're gonna have to wait a couple more weeks to find out what Dark Magician and Link want out of the Elite Tournament.
Were there any other movies that were infamous in your family?
Another movie that was infamous for being scary was House of Wax, which that one is actually pretty creepy. Like we watched that one at my 10th birthday as well, and universally all of the 10-year-olds were freaked out by it.
So we rented Cabin Boy one year. We went to Florida. My grandparents had a house in Florida. Yeah. And we got Cabin Boy. And it was so bad, it became another one of those, Angry Larry family, let's talk about bad movies staples. It's Killer Tomatoes, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, and Cabin Boy. And then another one was the movie Mask with Cher, not the one with Jim Carrey.
I didn't know such a thing existed.
Yeah, she has a son. Son has a grotesque, disfigured face, and it's all about, whatever. And there's a scene where, spoiler, the kid dies, whatever, disease, whatever he has, like he passes away or something. And Cher is in the room, and the kid's on it, he's on her lap. And she leaves the room and comes back, and he's like the other orientation on the bed. So it's like one of those glaring errors in a movie. Yeah. And it's just like anytime there's a problem with a movie, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that one time in this movie. It's one of those dad stories that keeps coming up.
Right, yeah. And this, especially when the movie already is not great, you can easily focus on those kinds of mishaps. So Dark Magician is really putting the dark in his stream lately. Look how muted these colors are. You can barely see the cabin.
Yeah, we need to talk to the people who edit this. We need DM cam somehow fixed into the his races. See how he reacts to getting bodied right there.
Yeah, there's a clear lack of Wahoyas in the Elite Tournament.
I think people in this chat now put the Wahoya in between, in the middle of dongers. Edit out the donger face and just keep the arms of the donger. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So DM with the overall lead, he's going to get the bucket here. Link 7's just right behind him, one door. He'll get the bucket as well. There is, we were talking about this last week in chat while the show was going on, about how getting the bucket, you take damage when you get the bucket. But then a couple practices in a row, I didn't take damage when I got the bucket. So I don't know if there's only, if you get hit with the bucket a specific way you take damage, or specific buckets give you damage. I'm not too sure, but whatever the case, grab the last one. It doesn't cost that much time.
Yeah, honestly, I've been, even if I go in with full health, if I take an intentional death on the bucket room, I'll usually still grab the bucket just because you get a good amount of health refill right after the werewolf, but it's always nice to have more health. You know, you can skip that soda fill up at the end, and that can save you a race even. You know, we've had some races that are close enough that drinking the soda could decide.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go get Johnny's stats on the case here to see how many times somebody has won while the other person is in the animation of the final boss being dead, and how many times somebody has won because the other person got the soda. I don't think it's that many, if at all, for the latter, but the former, plenty of people. I think even my first 2 races, I won where my opponent was watching the animation of the final boss dying.
That's a close race. I mean, that's like 17 seconds, right? From last hit to time.
There's a big window there. Long. Yeah. Well, Link takes the lead. Oh, no, he doesn't. I'm sorry. Dark Magician got thrown into the pumpkin.
Yeah, they're only a few seconds apart on the top there. The race at the bottom is closer than it was, but BT is in a little bit of trouble here with only 1 health left on the forest level. And he gets a bonus. And we'll see if he takes the intentional death on the spikes here. Oh, he's going for it. Thinks better of it after all.
Yeah, I can't tell for sure if he just missed that jump, maybe trying to time a bucket, or if he just, well, maybe he doesn't know about the buckets because he just jumped over all the pits there. Or like you said before, he has full health, maybe he won't get one. Up top, Dark Magician has a little bit better room in the clock room than Link did. Link hesitated more, stopped more.
Yeah, the clock room's like one of the more fun parts of this run, I think, where you can really just like minimize the pauses in there and jump over the little arrows. And it's really nice when you can get through that room quickly and without getting bopped.
BT's got absolutely bodied by the wolf. He lost 75% of his health. No soda for Dark Magician. He's going right into the final boss.
That's a good call. I mean, I don't know if he knows how close this race is, but there's not that much time to spare.
In his first race, he didn't get the soda, but he does watch his opponent, and he knew he was behind, which at that point you might as well just get the soda because it's really going to take a death from the other player to win. But he went in with 1 health and actually did not die. So maybe he knows he's ahead here and decided not to get the soda.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. If you're behind, if you know you're behind, there's no reason to not get this. Uh-oh, your Upsilus with the grab manages to not fall in the hole. That's always scary when the Garfield bats get you.
Looked like he had a good screamer room, but again, that room sometimes... I get hit in that room at the door without knockback. You can just hear it. And we don't have his audio, so I don't know. Yeah.
Which is like, you know, it costs you 1 health. It's not a big deal. Hopefully you're not relying on, you know, every last point of health at this point. But we got ourselves a 3-way disco.
Yeah, Dark Magician is halfway through. He's got 8 hits so far.
BT's having a little bit of trouble with those chainsaws, but manages to clean them up.
Dark Magician took a lot of hits in that room as well. He just stayed in the corner and didn't care that the chainsaw came after him.
That's interesting. I haven't seen that kind of strategy before, but it kind of makes sense because your positioning really determines when those chainsaws come down. So if you can afford the health, you know, why not just force the good ones? And BT taking a clock drop.
That's his 2nd in a row.
Oh, I missed the first one. Yikes. It looks like we're going to have exactly what you talked about. Link 7 in the death animation while Dark Magician finishes in first place in his race.
1810 for Dark Magician. That will probably lower his average that he's already complaining about.
Yeah, very low.
He's complaining that he has, just like somebody from last season who had the best average and had a bad win-loss record. He's claiming he's that person this season, but he's not even. He's third in his group, so he doesn't even have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I missed it, but I don't think Dark Magician has beaten 2 world record holders in this game in a single race at the same time together.
Right, at once.
At once, yes.
18-10 for Dark Magician, like I said. 18-26 for Link Sevens, who's going to get a Melvin hat.
Do we have stats on how many Melvin hats every individual who's participated has?
Johnny's stats is very particular when it comes to awarding a Melvin hat in the official column, because it has to do with the slowest person of the group for the week. And some races are split up, some races are combined, so we have to get, maybe we'll get a final total in the season finale of how many Melvin hats have been issued to whom.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing those kinds of stats. Johnny Stats, one of my favorite behind-the-scenes characters in the Elite organization.
Europsilis, 19-12. He'll be moving on to 3-0, and again, securing that #1 seed.
What an introductory season for him. He's starting out in the cesspool, but everyone has to start, in the bottom tier. So that's no fault of his own, and he's showing what he's made of here. BT's down to 1 health. I didn't keep track of how many hits he has left, but this is a little bit frightening.
Let's see where the pumpkin starts off from. The middle?
Yeah, there's a lot of middle spawns.
Yeah, he might be, well, doesn't matter now. He might have been like 3 more hits left, 4 more hits left at that point.
Yeah, I think the last boss, it's fairly straightforward once you know like the patterns of his movement and everything, and without like you mentioned, BT's hasn't had a lot of time to put into practicing this, so I think that he's a little bit at a disadvantage going into this last boss, not knowing where he hits him and where which corners are going to be safe and everything.
He's going to have to regroup because our next race, he's going to be taking on Zyrak. So that will be do or die for BTs at that point. For both players, whoever wins will be in.
Yeah, it's crazy. With the back to the 4 people groups, like every race is very important. At the start of this race, we were talking about how BT's had the whole world open to him. Win or lose here, anything could happen. And now, with this 1 loss, it's do or die.
Yeah, head-to-head tiebreaker is very important, and he will have that chance to have that tiebreaker. It's not terrible, because the way it stands is didn't matter what his result here is. His race against Zyrak, if he won that race, he was in no matter what this result was, even if he won. But we'll have to see that race next. He's just going to finish up this fight.
Yeah, and especially with 3 races to go, he doesn't want to get any forfeits on the records. Those still very, very costly as far as tiebreakers go.
Yeah, with Jack in the group, Jack already has 2 forfeits. So BT's to lose a tiebreaker would have to lose 3 would have to forfeit 3 times. And there's no possible scenario because one of those races is against Jack. So BT's could forfeit from this and it wouldn't affect him at all. But he does not forfeit.
No, he finishes it out, and we knew he would. That's BT's. He's not gonna throw in the towel in his first elite race.
He is gonna get the Melvin hat in his first elite race, though.
That's a good prize.
Yeah, everyone.
Yeah,
wants
I've
one.
lost a lot more than BT's, and I didn't get a Melvin hat on my first race.
No, we weren't as prestigious back then when you were bad.
Yeah,
now you're good, and
low.
Yeah, then you decide to be good, and then now you're bad again. So
I just like to keep people guessing.
it's basically, basically what it is. I was terrible. Now I'm the best ever at any game we play. Remember that time last season? Well, no. I'll tell that story another time. Why don't you wrap things up here?
Yeah, I think that's going to do it for us. We got Europsilus and Dark Magician with the wins. We're going to see some more races coming back after we send you back to Hans in the studio for a brief recap. Thanks for commentating with me, Larry. We'll see you soon.
Dark Magician will be taking that win and heading into the relegation race on a positive note. This is the second season in a row Link Sevens has failed to make the winner's bracket after making it every single time in the first 5 seasons. Over in Group Killer Tomato, BT's lost, which means he cannot win this group, but the way that things shake out, the race between BT's and Zyrak, which we're going to see next, will decide who is going to be second in the group. With that race call is Angry Larry and Justin Man 114.
What's up, everyone? I'm Justin here with Larry. Got a group regular tomato race between BTs and Zyrak, and this one's got some seeding implications for the brackets.
Yeah, so the way the tiebreakers work, the winner of this race will actually make the brackets, because if BTs is 0-1, Zyrak is 1-1. If BTs gets this win, he'll have at minimum one win with 1 race left to go, and then that would put him in a tiebreaker situation because Jack has forfeits, would have more forfeits, and then Zyrak would have the loss to BTs. But if Zyrak wins, he moves to 2-1 and outright gets into the playoffs.
Yeah, so virtually just an elimination race here, and right off the bat I noticed that neither runner did our little reset trick there, so we pretty much even here throughout the first level.
I'm finding a surprising number of people are not doing it.
Yeah, I wonder if they just don't want to risk it in a race and like mess it up or something, because you maybe lose more time at the beginning, but I think even doing it relatively on the slow side would still be faster than just starting the game. So, hard to say. Maybe they just want the continues too, just in case you do have to burn a continue, but I feel like at this point, if you gotta continue that many times, you're probably not gonna win the race anyway.
There's an awkwardness to hitting reset, start, and like if you want to do, because so many people are conditioned to use splits that they feel like it's mandatory and they have to do it. So to hit like start, reset, and the split button all at the same time, where the console may not be in front of you to begin with, if you're even on a console, and let alone like if you're on emulator, you have to hit like a control key shortcut at the same time. It's probably just too cumbersome for people. Just eliminate the splits. Just, go for the faster strat. Retime later if you think it's a PB.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with doing that, and I agree. I think a lot of people just kind of like to have the splits up, but it's really not necessary at the end of the day, especially if you're just racing an SRL. Little bit of trouble there for BTs, so about a second lost. See how their book and little exorcism girl fights go here.
So I have a theory about this fight, and I just made it up right now, and we'll confirm or deny this within the next couple of weeks. These book spawns are based on a global timer. And killing them before the timer runs out will allow the book to respawn in its next position immediately. But when you don't have it killed, if you linger a little bit or if it flies away a little bit, then there's a delay and it waits to the next cycle, and that's how they get out of order.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed, it's hard to say what it is, but I've definitely noticed, slightly faster, slower book fights. So there's got to be something going on there. So we see BT's having a little trouble with the head here. He didn't actually go for the initial hit. Zyrak did, but missed it. Yeah, we see BT just taking it careful here, doesn't want to take some damage. Gets it done. going to give Zyrak a pretty good sized lead, though, with his fight was, even though he didn't get that first hit, pretty clean corner strat there afterwards.
Yeah, from the beginning of the stage to the chicken fight is the lead, because BT's had a little slower Smurfette fight. But he seemed to remember to jump up onto the ledges here for the spiders, something that, you know, people forget about.
Yeah, I still forget that. Periodically, I don't know what it is. Both of those spider rooms, honestly, kind of sneak up on you, the one later.
Which is actually kind of impressive because, you know, BT's is not, you know, how do I say it? Like a novice when it comes to speedrunning. I mean, he plays a lot of games very fast, and he's very good. But he's also not had the practice with this game that maybe Zyrak could have had about 3 weeks worth of practice up until this point. So remembering that the spiders were there in what could be his only, like, single digits playthrough is pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. And there was the fight they just did, I feel like, has a little bit of RNG in it as well.
Unos was actually timing that one day where I believe it was inconclusive. The only thing conclusive was the knives drop to the floor in the same amount of frames, but the length of time before they would drop would be different, or something like that. Ascend to the top would be different, but it didn't matter if you were directly under the knife or way in the far corner. The knife would approach the floor in the same amount of frames.
Yeah, I feel like the first two usually come down at the same time, but then you'll see, like, the next set might come down one at a time, and it kind of depends on how far. It's random how far in between, I guess, how much time in between the two knives coming down. So I've definitely seen good patterns where you get both to come down almost every time at the same time.
And look at where this lead change happened. It happened at the mouse.
Yeah, I actually didn't see if either of them did the low strat or not, but Zyrak certainly had quite a lead going into that and had some, certainly, they both kind of had some trouble with it, to be honest.
And that's going to be a lot more trouble right there. He dies to the last rat left over and has to start the whole stage over again.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a death to that rat. I didn't know if that was going to take him back to the whole beginning. So yeah, that costs a lot of time. BT is going to be in control here now.
And he's going to bring the gun to the chainsaw fight, but he has a little trouble jumping over the spider. He has to ascend once again.
Yeah, this spider room, even if you do remember it's there, I feel like it's a little tricky. You got to be a little careful with those jumps and not to take a bop, because you're just going to get knocked right off like he did. Zyrak going top root again. Let's see if he can handle it this time.
Well, BT's definitely has the optimal play strategies in his mind, because he did, again, bring the gun into the chainsaw fight and was trying to pick him off two at a time.
Yeah, I personally prefer the shotgun there, for sure. I know a lot of people don't use it, because it does take a little time to grab it, but I think it's so minimal that it's worth it.
My problem with that, Zyrak gets through the mouse fight without a problem that time. My problem with that was the getting to the door with the gun and jumping over the spiders, but then getting the chainsaws to stay in sync when I was shooting them. I would seem like maybe, you know, you miss one of them and it's, you know, a detriment to have the shotgun at that point.
Yeah, if you miss the first one, they're just out of sync pretty much for the rest of the fight, so it's definitely crucial. I like kind of, BT's taking a death to the spiders. He was doing a little bit of a corner strat there. This is going to pretty much even things back out almost. Zyrak's going to be just entering.
Yeah, he'll be probably like 5 spider drops ahead.
I've never seen this hanging out in the corner strat. Seems to be taking some damage from it. I think we're all at this point trying to find a way to get these spiders to spawn faster now that we know that there's a lot of RNG in this fight.
Yeah, again, there's a lot to be saved, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was global frame rules again, where, you know, X amount of spiders can only be around in some interval, but killing them faster would spawn them faster, maybe at certain points within that range. It's I'm not a fan of true randomization. I don't believe that really exists. So there's got to be a method somewhere.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I feel like if only you could jump higher and start hitting them, higher in their fall cycle. We have about a 3-second difference here, if that. So this is shaping up to be a pretty good one.
Yeah, this is nice because this is where execution will win the race when players are this close coming into or out of stages.
Yeah, these pumpkin streets with the platforming knockbacks can really, you see BT's had the lead there going into that section. Now he does not. Grabs the shotgun for the goat fight here, interestingly. Could be helpful, I guess, for the bats, the birds, whatever you want to call them.
I have tried to use the gun on the birds before, and I don't really think it takes care of them.
Yeah, I try to just go for what Zyrak's kind of doing right there, and then if they swoop down near me, I'll adjust and try to kill the one that's swooping. And yeah, you can see the shotgun's not really doing anything there. Oh,
he got 4 at one time there, so
yeah, I kind of made up for it, I guess.
They have to be on like the lowest part of their like regular sine wave, I think, for it to really matter. It looks like.
I'm actually not sure if like the goat actually spawns faster, like the faster you kill them, or if that's just always the same. But I do know that you really want to try to have none of them alive once the goat is spawned, because they can get in your way if you get that goat in a stun lock. 1 health left for BT and 2 for Zyrak, so good job getting through there.
He picks up a couple safety candies right there and gets the global 6 one right there. And quickly he's back up to like half health.
Is that every 6 enemies gives you a candy? Is that a thing?
Every 6 enemies that's like eligible. If you think of Zelda 1, there's some enemies that are not in that pool, that group, likes and stuff like that would not count towards a. Well, that wouldn't drop things. Let's just say not in a drop group. Not I'm talking about bombs. Not in a drop group. I believe there are enemies in this game that are not in a drop group that would count towards the 6 kill counter. But killing things with the shotgun also does not count if you kill them. If you kill people that are in the drop group. So it's all 6 qualifying enemies will drop stuff, and that also includes trees and boxes and other stuff as well. I think the good steer in the last level too that hides the candy, if that's a 6, you'll actually get 2 pieces.
Huh. It wouldn't just change to like a burger or something?
No, because 2 candies do not equal a burger no matter what part of the world you're in.
If only that were a thing. Zyrak, 1 health here. Can't do the damage boost strat. Takes the death. That's not too costly of a death time-wise, though, fortunately. He's going to start right at the beginning of that room.
Yeah, BT's also missed that burger, but somewhere in between, BT's took the lead to that room as well.
Here we go. Zyrak is in this. BT's already passed it pretty easily. Bit of a tough section there. No one likes that water section. Then you get the sharks, which are actually trivial, in my opinion. So
the only time the sharks matter in my runs is when I do something stupid like try to jump the whole way, and I mess up the timing.
Yeah, if you're just messing around with the A button. Yeah, I know what you mean. Let's see how many cycles BT gets. Hasn't missed one yet. I think Zyrak, if BT misses 2 cycles here, it might be close to tied again.
Zyrak misses the first one.
Ooh. BT misses one there. Overall good fight though. I think 1 cycle missed.
Zyrak is done. He misses 1 as well, so BT retains his lead.
And we got more fun platforming with damage boosting in the forest here. probably one of the tougher platforming sections. Maybe not this forest section, but the next one for sure.
I tell you what, though, when this section goes fluid, it's probably the most rewarding feeling that you have in this game.
Yeah, you can pretty much get through that whole thing. Minimal, if not no stop. Proper damage boost and jump timing. Zyrak remembering the spikes were there and getting over them damageless. That is amazing, in my opinion.
BT's also did hesitate in the beginning, remembering he was there. He got bopped a little bit in the Screamer room. Looks like Zyrak got bopped the same amount of times, but he got bopped going forward. He got the damage boost forward, so he gained a little bit of time in that room.
Yeah, I think as long as you get a forward boost, you're pretty much happy there. Back boost is going to cost you at least a second. Here we go. Heading over to see if... I don't think BT needs the bucket. Might grab it. Nope. Zyrak probably doesn't need it either. A little bit less health.
Yeah, he took 2 additional health right before the room, getting the damage boost over last couple stumps, and he grabs the bucket.
Yeah, it was a quick bucket grab, too.
And just like that, they have the same amount of health.
I think with this fight, as long as you get through, even if you're down to 1, you're fine. You get so many health refills in the next stage.
Yeah, 3 burgers in stage 6. Not all of them out of the way, but this one right here, to grab and then jump up on the platform, you do slow down a little bit when you jump over that threshold to the next level, but you're not going to knock it that burger because of that.
Yeah, I think the second one is the only one that probably doesn't lose time to grab. This one right here that BT just grabbed. Third one certainly loses the most if you want to grab it.
Not a lot of risk here in this stage either. So, jump right like BT's did, grab it. That health can go a long way in the next stage. And just as I say, there's no risk in this stage. BT takes a couple points of damage.
Yeah, he's probably glad he grabbed the burger, though. And they're about even on health now, entering the mansion. Close to even on time, too. Still about 5 seconds, maybe? So, execution, gonna be huge here.
Yeah, about 4 seconds at the drop between the runners. It may not seem like a lot, but something has to go wrong to lose a 4 second. I don't think you can make up 4 seconds in just flat out platforming execution in stage 7. It has to be with missing cycles on the chainsaw like BT's just did there, or dropping down one of the holes.
Yeah, even the final boss, you can lose some seconds missing, if you miss the initial hit when you jump on any of the pumpkin spawns and then have to do like a second jump, you can lose a second or 2.
Zyrak cut the lead in half there with a better chainsaw fight, but he gets a little out of whack on the flies by trying to go through the door.
Yeah, a couple back boosts unintentionally there. BT taking a back boost.
Still about 2 or 3 seconds at the door there.
Yeah, this is super tight. This is actually going to make for an intense final boss fight, which is kind of rare. Alright, no one gets grabbed by bats. Final room here. Oh! Yeah, Zyrak almost caught right back up there, but has his own little bit of trouble right by the door. BT grabbing the soda. Let's see if Zyrak does.
Zyrak grabs the soda as well. But yeah, that Screamer room, Zyrak did make 3/4 of the way through the room. Zyrak made up a good deal of time. And then just got blocked. Got Dikembe Mutombo'd at the door.
Yeah, multiple hits at the door just kept him out of there. And of course, we know with these fantastic iframes this game gives you, once you get hit, it can kind of snowball.
And if the person editing this is listening, make sure you have that Dikembe Mutombo finger wag gif ready to go.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're going to be looking for pretty much the only way Zyrak's going to win this at this point is if BT misses several hits initially on pumpkin spawns. Otherwise, you know, it's virtually an auto scroller here, as we all know, as long as you're getting your hits when he spawns.
Very few times have I seen somebody miss enough to cause the pumpkin to just redo the projectiles, like get back in that shooting the projectile mode. But even if that happens, I doubt that is even that much more, that much of a time loss.
Yeah, it would need it to happen certainly more than once to catch up here. I think he's got at least a 2 or 3 hit lead, if you will.
Know what the best part about this race is?
What's that?
Anybody watching on SRL or multi-Twitch, they're watching BTs in real time, and then they're seeing Zyrak stream on a 40-minute delay.
What?
Yeah, because Link to the Past randomizer administrators don't want him streaming live.
Ah. Wow, close finish. But yeah, I think they both had pretty much optimal pumpkin fights. So BT's looks like he's going to take it. 2019.
Yeah, that will give him the second spot in Group Red Fruit.
And a 2026 with a Melvin hat. 7 seconds between these two. Not bad. Melvin hat hiding the good stuff that we want to see. I guess we could see it over on the left side, though.
It's like one of those things. There was, man, what was that called? I forget what it was. I think they do it on like Jimmy Kimmel or Fallon or whatever, where they do unintentional or intentional censorship on stuff, where it's not, you know, so much sexual or obscene, but they blur the right spot or they beep the right words, and it makes it seem like that much more provocative than it really is.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think I've seen it on that show, but they do that actually on some sports radio shows I listen to. It's pretty funny when that happens.
But yeah, BT's is your winner. He'll be moving on to the bracket round, and Zyrak will be on the bench until Season 8.
Yeah, I mean, good race. Unfortunately for Zyrak, didn't quite. I mean, I think both runners would say they weren't really happy with their races, some deaths and some time losses. But yeah, BT's going to eke it out. He's going to get a spot in the brackets. See what happens from there.
And with that, we'll send it back to Hans in the studio.
Thanks, everyone.
He started late, but he is going to be in the brackets. BT's, with that win, moves to 1-1. He'll have the tiebreaker over Zyrak, so even if he loses the Jackmas Wedge and all 3 players are 1-2, BT's would win all the tiebreakers. Jackmas Wedge would be eliminated from the 3-way tiebreaker due to his forfeits earlier in the season, and then BT's would win the head-to-head tiebreaker over Zyrak. He'll have the number 2 seed, with Europolis having the number 1 seed. And coming up on Sunday night, we will conclude our Week 3 coverage with 4 additional matches. Unos XX versus Buzz Thunder in the upper deck, and Edge Stream versus Jam Eviler in the bowl. Those are 2 matchups with all players being 2-0. The winners will get the number 1 seed in their group, and the losers the number 2 seed. All 4 players are in their respective brackets. The matches between Nirm and D-Pad Danny and Armageddon Time versus Zarnax 42, those matches are both for playoff spots. Win and you're in. Lose and you're going to have to go to your league's relegation race and hope you can survive to stay in your league. And all that will happen on episode number 8, Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I am Hans Buttface, and we'll see you then. Knob.